3, 2, 1. Welcome back to the Entreprenhour. My name is Joshua Yankoviz, and I'm really excited for you to be here today. If you're listening right now, this episode is going to be full of value on real estate. Everything real estate, Airbnbs, rentals, you name it. We're going to talk about it. Joining me is the wonderful Ashley Sivils.
Sivils.
Yes. Ah, okay. All right. I'm going to get that one day.
Yeah, you will. One
Sivils.
day. It's okay.
It's spelled like silver almost.
A lot of people mess it up, so don't feel bad.
Well, a lot of people mess up my name. Actually,
I'm sure they do.
Literally everyone.
Yeah.
Not one person ever gets it right.
Okay.
So
you're off the hook.
we're in the same boat.
We're even.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, how do you say my last name?
I don't know.
Okay. Then we're good.
Okay.
Awesome. Well, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I'm really excited to have you on and hear some of your knowledge. Like, you've been in real estate now since 2018.
Yep.
And you kind of like had the drive to start working for yourself and start working for what you love to do.
Yeah, exactly.
And so tell me about just briefly where you got started. You said 2018.
2018, I got my license.
What were you doing before you were doing real estate? Like
before real estate?
Yeah, just before you got into it, like what were you doing?
So I got into real estate in Kansas City. So before that, I was living in Washington, D.C. I was doing the fundraising, political stuff. But my family's from Springfield, Missouri, and they're all in real estate. And in the political world, I wasn't making very much money. I was like, I don't want to build a life in DC away from my family. So came back to Kansas City and decided real estate would be a good option since I sort of had a background in it, like growing up in it. So got my license and I just started cold emailing all the top realtors in Kansas City. And I got a few interviews, and Dan Lynch was who I first worked for, the broker. The real estate company is called Lynch Real Estate. So we met a few times. He wasn't hiring anybody at the time, but I was very persistent. So he hired me and it started from there.
Cool. Okay.
Yeah.
So you bought your first house in 2019.
Yeah.
How did you go about buying your first house?
Yeah. So, okay, a lot of this, I was working for Dan Lynch and I was watching him do all of his stuff. I was like, I really want to be him. So what are some steps I can take to move in that direction? So I got my real estate license. I was working for Dan Lynch. 2019 comes around and I'm like, okay, I'm going to house hack a house. I'm going to buy a house and I'm going to house hack it. And I'm not sure if anyone knows.
Yeah, let's break down house hacking.
Yeah. So house hacking is when you buy a house and you find somebody else to pay the mortgage, which I like to call OPM, other people's money. And so I was going to buy a house. I knew that it was my first house, so I was a first-time home buyer. So I could get a loan for 3% down, and I was a realtor on it, so I was going to make money by purchasing this house also. So bought the house. Let me see if I can break this down a little bit. So I wanted a house hack. So I knew that it needed to be 2 entrances because somebody else was going to live in the house with me and rent it out. At first I was like, well, somebody could rent out a bedroom. But then I was like, I need my own space. So I found the perfect house, had 2 entrances, one to the basement, one to upstairs, turned the basement into an Airbnb. And I lived upstairs, and then it just snowballed from there.
So I've heard that it gets much easier once you do have one because you can leverage to the next.
Exactly.
And then I've also heard that having 20 or larger numbers of units is easier than having just 1 or 2.
Totally. It mitigates the risk. When you have 20 and a washer and dryer goes out, you can pay for it. But if you just have 1 and the washer and dryer goes out, that's a huge hit. But when you're making more money off of 20, it's not that big of a hit. That makes sense. Like you're mitigating as you get more. And
I don't think I mentioned it. How many Airbnbs do you have and manage?
I have 14 listings, and that is 10 properties. I've turned 2 of them into 2 different listings. Because I also learned you can have one house and you can rent out the top, rent out the bottom, and then you can also have the option to rent out the whole thing. So really, it could be 3 listings, and then that's just a way to get more profit, more revenue.
Right. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Just different strategies to
Yeah.
make it happen.
Right. And I learned that as I was going, because when I first started, I had no idea what I was doing. I was just like, I want to make some money. I want to try to make some money by having somebody else pay the mortgage. So I'm going to see if Airbnb even works. And it worked really well.
Yeah, clearly.
Yeah. Because now I have 14.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's jump into how you develop the confidence to work for yourself. I want to break this down for people and myself as well. Just it's always important to hear this. And I want to talk about with you the importance, or really the methods of how you created or gained the confidence to work for yourself.
Yeah. So this is a great question. And honestly, I struggle with it all the time. But so it kind of goes back to, as a kid, like when teachers would ask, what do you want to be when you grow up? It'd always be like, I want to own my own business. I want to be a CEO. Like,
that's cool.
It was always
You were saying that soon.
Yeah. Like I always knew that I wanted to be my own boss. And I would find myself in jobs that I was somebody else's assistant. Because my dad always told me, he was like, okay, find who you want to be and then go work for them. Mm-hmm. That way you learn from them. He was
so you become like those you are around.
Exactly. And I credit who I am now to Dan Lynch, because I was just watching him do everything. But so I would take jobs for like no money just to learn from these people. And that gave me the confidence as I was going on, because I would get feedback from them. Like, oh, you're doing a good job, like things like that. And I was like, oh, you know what? Like I can do this. And then like each step brought me closer to working for myself. And then, I don't know, like to have the confidence, it was like the inner drive of like, this is who I am and what I want to be. And then just the courage. I mean, I think sometimes confidence is like, you have fear, but you do it anyway.
Yeah, that's what I was going to get to.
Yeah, like...
I loved everything you were saying, and I was going to start to try to say that, is that it's the fear doesn't leave.
No.
It's just...
You just
the confidence comes with doing it anyway.
Exactly.
And then you're there, you're like, well, I did it.
Exactly.
And each time you take the action to do it anyway, with the fear involved anyway...
Build you up.
Less fear is involved in the next decision.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to get to. Is that point is just, which I love that you got there. It's
that's
great.
The point I was trying to make, is like, yes, it might look like I have confidence, but I'm scared as shit in the inside, and I'm just doing it anyway, because I have this like innate feeling of like, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. So I do it.
Yeah. And it's like, for me, being sober goes along with like, well, I don't feel like, doing XYZ today, but it's like, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter that I don't feel like doing it.
Exactly.
I'm going to do it anyway.
You do it anyway.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. I like that. So what do you think, in your opinion, does it take to succeed? Or how would you, let's just break that down.
Okay. Yeah. Like, what is success?
What is success to you?
Yeah. Success to me, so one of my huge values is freedom. And what does freedom look like? Time freedom, financial freedom. Those are mainly the big ones. Like, success to me is I have the freedom to choose what I want to do. And I don't have to worry. Okay, this is an example I bring up a lot. Like, let's say I need 4 new tires on my car and it's going to cost $1,400. Like, I don't want to have to worry about how am I going to pay that. I want to know that I'm going to pay that because I have to. And it's because I have built this business and I can. Like, I'm not worrying about that. And same with time. Like I want to be a mom someday, and I never wanted to be in like a 9-to-5, because what if I have to pick my kids up from school, or what if one of them's sick and I have to take them to the doctor? Like, I want to have time freedom to where money's coming in, but I don't have to trade my time for money. Mm-hmm. I'm
getting out of that game of trading time for money.
Exactly.
That's a good start.
I think that is success for me, not trading my time for money.
Yeah. Being able to choose when to do what you want to do.
Yeah.
How you want to do it.
Yeah.
When you want to do it.
Exactly. And like, if I want to go on that vacation, I'm going to go.
Yeah.
Like that's what success looks like to me. And also like building something that's my own. Like I've always like wanted something that's my own, that I created, that like helps other people, or like other people can benefit off of it. So like my Airbnbs, like the part that I love the most is like decorating and having and the communication with the guests, because I'm creating this experience for somebody else. I just think that's something that I enjoy.
Yeah, you're providing an experience in a space for other people, which is a high value service.
Right.
And I like that too. I like that a lot. A thing for me is like always what I want to do. Like I a while back, like what I want to do has become more defined. But initially I was like, I don't care what I do as long as it covers three things. If it's creative, if it provides a service to other people, a value to other people, and I always forget the third thing, but those first two things were always so important to me.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's got to be creative for me because I just need a creative outlet to do something. Now for you, like the decorating, that's an art. That's creative.
It's an art. I know.
Yeah.
It makes me so excited. I'm really into fashion as well, like clothes. And so I say that like decorating a house is like clothes for the house.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
It's like dressing up the house.
Yeah.
For sure. Mm-hmm. Do you do landscaping and outdoor stuff too?
You know, I wish, but no, I have to hire people to do that.
You help like determine what goes in and what happens. Yeah, you help design it. Like I'm not saying you necessarily, do I don't plant
yourself.
The flowers. But you pick the flowers.
Yeah, I picked the flowers. I even did we made like this rock fire pit patio thing.
Oh, cool.
It was cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really cool. So success is the ability to choose your own, what to do with your time, and not trading your time for money.
Yeah.
For other people's time.
Yeah. And just like, I think success to me is working for myself. For me, that is success. Like I'm not working for somebody else. That's always been a huge goal of mine. But to somebody else, some people like working for other people.
Yeah.
And nothing's wrong with that.
Yeah. No, that's the calling for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Some people are led to do that. Some people aren't. And that's just the way things are.
Right.
It's interesting that success can be taken in so many different directions. So like,
I know.
I think in another sense, success is like, as long as you're doing what you love to do.
Right.
Which what you love to do may include not working for other people and not trading your time for money.
Yeah.
Where you have a passive income stream or multiple income streams. And I think that most people can get to that point, and not even if they think that's success or not, but they can get to the point where they're not trading their time for money. Mm-hmm. And that's why I put this podcast together. That's why I have continued to have like people who bring value to the table in this room, because I want to talk to people who are also interested in working for themselves and doing what they love to do, and getting to the point where they're not trading their time for money. Mm-hmm. Or even if they are, like, that's okay too. Like if they're doing what they love to do, that's what matters to me.
Right. Exactly.
I'm just grateful that this podcast can be a thing at all.
Yeah, me too.
For sure. Mm-hmm. Okay. So let's talk about, let's get back to real estate and talk about why real estate. So I want to ask the question, why real estate?
Why real estate? Okay.
Yeah. So you said when you were younger, you wanted to own your own business and work for yourself.
Correct.
That was a like idea you had.
Yeah.
And then you kind of just fell into, or no, not fell in. How did you get connected with the real estate agency
So I knew I wanted to be in real estate because I have family members that have done it. So like, I know it works.
Okay. So you saw it working. You saw the success that the potential was there.
Exactly. And also like in college, my dad would always be like, why don't you become a real estate agent? Like that was always kind of like in the back of my head. And I would always be
What
like,
did you study in school?
Oh, economics and finance. But funny story, I left my senior year to go work on a presidential campaign. This is how I got into like the political stuff. So I couldn't finish my finance degree because I was doing everything online while working on this campaign. So I just have the economics degree, but it's in business. So
Gotcha.
Yeah. So why real estate?
Yeah.
Knew it was working. I knew it can work. I wanted to make money. I was in DC making no money. So came back here and I literally Googled top real estate agents in Kansas City and I emailed them all. and a couple responded. I met with a few, but me and Dan like instantly connected, and it worked out. I think that was my higher power, to be honest. Like the me and Dan thing, like that was not supposed to happen. It was very weird, but like very like in sync kind of thing. Like, yeah. I knew I was
like
on
the
right
word,
path.
we use the word sync. Like it's a synchronicity. It's a matter of like, and I earlier said fell into. That's just like a lazy way to talk about synchronicity.
Exactly.
Where things are meant to happen. You attract what is meant for you.
Yeah.
Lately, I've been like really on this trek of thinking about not like what's not from a place of entitlement, but from a place of like already owning something. So like divine right. So this life that I'm living, that I knew before I started living it, like I manifested on this plane of existence in this reality.
Yeah.
There's certain things that I'm meant to have.
Right.
And if I like to look at it like if I was doing it the wrong way, like if I was drinking and doing drugs and partying and going the wrong direction, living a life on a path of destruction versus the life of like being in alignment with myself and my my higher power and my inner self, the Tao, the all, the source, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
If I'm not on that like trek, I'm not going to get my divine right of my like what's meant for me.
Right.
So it's interesting, like the longer I am on this path, like I know that I am because things are going well. So
right.
And
it's like a sign.
You get signs, and earlier I said like leads. You get leads that are indications of the right path, the right.
Yeah, I agree.
Like signs that, divine signs and stuff like that. But it's interesting to me that the more I focus on myself and like learning who I am, the more I get to see that path and that like sense of divine right. Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
Okay. So back to real estate. So let's talk about the pros and cons of real estate. So you got into real estate and you have been doing it for a few years now. And and I would say also that you're like successful at it because you've got 14 listings and you're continuing to expand. So what have you learned in that time frame of the pros and cons of real estate? Because I know that some listeners out here, no matter if they're listening next week or years from now, because we can always look back at this, when you got into real estate versus now, what have been the pros and cons of it?
Pros and cons of real estate. I mean, there's so many.
If you want, you can make a list to your right and left, and I'll put them up.
Okay, cool. Pro, con.
Yeah.
Okay, pros of real estate. Well, okay, here's another thing.
And if you want, you reference that
pros
camera.
And cons. Here's another thing. This is a pro. There are so many avenues of real estate. Pro real estate. You can sell houses. You can flip houses. You can buy rentals. You can do Airbnb. You can do wholesaling. You can buy land, sell land. You can buy a farm and rent out part of your land for a farmer to come rent from you. Like there are just so many ways to make money in real estate. That's a huge pro for me because I'm creative. Like I like finding creative ways to make money. Con, there's a ton of risk. I mean, okay.
High risk, high reward though.
Yeah. High risk, high reward. So like con, I did a flip recently and I bought it. I should not have bought it. I bought it too high and put too much money into it. So like you can lose money and spend all this time and then like you just lose the money. But like that's a part of it. And you have to understand that before you go into it.
Yeah.
Other cons. Okay, so in general, so I do Airbnb. One of the cons would be like guests that don't respect your home and like ruin it, and you have to buy new furniture and you have to deal with all that mess. Like there's a bunch of legal stuff too. Like if you're a realtor and you sell a house, there's endless legalities that you can get into. You can get sued like anytime. People threaten to sue realtors every day. So that's another con of it. Just kind of depends on what avenue you're going to go into. but I think the pros outweigh the cons.
Absolutely.
Pro for real estate, another one is you have passive income, and the house appreciates usually over time. So it's like the stock market, but better. Usually returns on houses are better than the stock market. The stock market.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'm with you. So I have been getting into stocks the past 2 years, and I've been following like just different mentors, and I wanted to actually throw this out there now that I think about it. So they say that you are like those you associate with and those you hang out with, and they say that, you know, I can't remember who said it, but it's like, I can't remember who said it, but someone will know. So it's like, show me your friends, I'll show you your future.
Yeah.
And it's like, if you hang out with 5 millionaires, you'll be the 6th.
Yeah.
This type of mentality, right? This type of world where that happens, that's reality.
Yeah.
I realized recently and I learned and then also internalized it, that the people you hang out with don't necessarily have to be the mentors that you become like. You can consume those people's content on the internet.
Yeah.
And that counts as your mentors and being around you.
Yeah.
Even though you're not physically working with them and actually knowing them. But that was a big thing for me, is that I didn't have to be with them and be around them. I could just consume their content on a daily basis and be around them to the point that makes it so that I am consuming and internalizing what they're saying.
Yeah.
And it's like, listen to them and put on the blinders, hear what they say and do. Hear and do, and just put that on repeat. And eventually I will continue to create, or not eventually, but I will continue to create the life that I want by just putting my head down and keep moving forward.
Exactly. Well, and that saying probably didn't come out when the internet was around.
Of
you
course.
know, it was probably whenever you just knew your neighbors.
Yeah.
So I actually really like that, and didn't really think of it that way, because I think about that like you are who you hang out with, but it's really like you are who you learn from.
Mm-hmm. It was a big thing for me, because I was like, had already been doing it. Like I had already been consuming like Gary Vee content, a little bit of Tony Robbins, not so much, but Gary Vee content. And now I'm blanking on the people I follow, but
Gary V's the top.
Gary Vee is the top. So I'm consuming like high quality content.
Yeah.
From people. Bradley is another one. He's a life insurance guy.
Okay.
Who's super cool. I really like him. I want to work with him someday.
Oh, okay.
I would love to. So if you're out there, if you ever hear this, I'm ready. I'll make some money. I'll make some money for you and for me.
Yeah.
And so I've been consuming this content over these past few years, but not realizing that those counted as my mentors.
Yeah.
Like I can say that Gary Vee is my mentor.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize I could do that, because I thought
you had to know him.
Well, what my problem was, I was stuck on thinking that I shouldn't be becoming friends with people around here, and like I shouldn't be like getting to know certain people because I don't want to become like them.
Yeah.
And I was thinking that, oh, well, I need to find millionaire friends and high achiever friends.
Yeah.
So that I can become like them and we can continue to rise.
Yeah.
Well, I realized after seeing this content or this piece of info about like your mentors and the people you hang out with or that you become like don't need to be like physically around you.
Yeah.
They can be mentors on the internet like Gary Vee.
Yeah.
And so that was a huge deal for me to see that I could make that switch mentally, because then it opened up my heart to be able to say, okay, I can hang out with other people and be healthy and be around others who aren't necessarily like as driven as me or as like intending to getting somewhere like big, like which most people aren't. Like most people aren't like striving for some kind of big thing.
Yeah.
And when you do that, it's like you're the weird one. Yeah. And I've always been the weird one, so that wasn't new.
Right.
But I had grown up being like a people pleaser, so I had to like really get out of that. And that's been a big deal for me even recently, where I'm like getting out of like not caring or like quit caring, because I was even like, I realized this past week that I was holding myself back when I would record for social media, not on these podcasts so much. And especially the past 3 episodes have been big improvements for me, but
Yeah.
like I had realized that I was being held back. I was holding myself back on social media
Yeah.
out of like in the back of my head thinking,
what are they gonna think?
not what do they think, but like, how is this being interpreted?
Oh.
Instead of just like putting my full self there and letting that flow.
Yeah.
Because like I've been slowly like stepping more and more into the flow of things and my own spirit. But it's like I realized I was holding myself back still even a little bit
Yeah.
with like my tone of voice and how I was speaking, how loud I was speaking, or how goofy I was on camera, like really thinking that. And I'm like, holy shit,
Yeah.
I've been doing this the whole time without thinking about it. And then when I thought about it, I was like, great, another thing to
Add to the list.
fix.
Yeah, exactly.
Sobriety is so fantastic.
I
Like,
know, that's great.
so you've been sober.
Yes.
How long have you been sober?
My sobriety date is July 4th, 2020.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mine's the 6th.
Oh, no way. Of July?
Yeah.
Oh, very cool.
It was February, or I was saying it was February 13th, but that was just the last day that was the last day I had a drink.
Oh.
But I had kept partying and doing drugs and smoking weed all the time and lying to myself
Right.
that it wasn't bad.
Right.
that I was sober. And it was a lie. It was me being in denial.
Exactly.
So I kind of renewed my intentions and set the date as the 6th because that's like the latest date I could remember that I had smoked weed.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, good for you.
And done any other drugs. So since that date, I haven't done any. This 2021.
Nice. Good for you.
Thanks. You too. Congrats.
Thank you. Thanks.
It feels good, doesn't it?
Yeah, it feels so good. And I'll tell a little story that goes like with the real estate and the sobriety thing.
Yeah, yeah.
So I bought my first house in 2019. So I was drinking at this point. And the first guest I ever had, that was an Airbnb guest, I had a party at my house. Worst Airbnb host ever. And then it was making money, yada, yada, yada. I have an investor partner who was like watching me do my Airbnb stuff. And they kept being like, let's get more, like, let's do more. And I kept holding off internally because I was like, this is too much responsibility. And I was still drinking. Like, I cared more about drinking than I did about growing my business. And once I got sober in July, so I bought my first house in September 2019, I get sober in July 2020. I bought the next however 9 houses that I bought were from September until now. So like once I got sober, it was like boom, 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 boom.
Yeah. That's amazing.
Like
because you removed the thing holding you back.
Totally.
Which was you.
Was me. I was holding myself back because I wanted to drink.
Yeah.
And I got rid of that. And that's why I am where I am. Like, I credit a lot of my success to being sober. I wouldn't be able to do it if I was drinking. No way.
Absolutely. I agree. I couldn't be living the life I live right now if I was drinking and doing drugs and partying. I wouldn't be this happy, wouldn't be this confident, wouldn't be this successful in what I do like on a daily basis, wouldn't be feeling this successful. Like, and success is relative, of course. Like, I'm not out here making 6 figures, but I'm happy. Yeah. And I'm doing what I like to do. Right. And that's where I start. And within that, what I said earlier, like the divine right stuff, not from a place of entitlement, but from a place of like, this is my right to live this life. Yeah. Well, the money's going to come along with that.
Totally. I believe that.
Okay. So I'd love to get into a little bit more details with your business and how you operate. So how do you accomplish your business goals? Or let's start maybe at the very beginning of it. Yeah. And I know I always do long-winded questions.
That's okay.
To set it up. So let's start with how do you set business goals?
Okay. How do I set business goals? Oh gosh, this is kind of a funny question. I guess when I start with small goals, and then like once I get my hand on it, I go really big. So like my first goal was I'm going to buy a house and I'm going to house hack it. Did that. Okay. What's the next step? Let's move out of the house, turn that into an Airbnb. Like, I have long-term goals of like, obviously like I want to own my own business and I want to be successful, but I didn't know how I was going to do that. And it happens to be real estate now. And so I start small and then work my way up. So now that I have this whole Airbnb business, I'm able to be like, okay, this is what I did last year. This year, I want to double it. Next year, I want to hit this number. Like, I set a big goal for the year and then I work my way back. So what do I need to do in January to get to that goal? What do I need to do in February to get to that goal? Like,
so you structure it out. Do you write things down and do you do a chart? Do you
so I actually have a life coach. She's the best. And she helps me do this. So we'll do really big goals and then we'll go back and I make a whole list of the bottom is what the goal is. And then I make like, okay, what do I need to do to get there? And then after I make the list, I put it in my calendar. Like January at this time, you should have had this done, or you need to be working on this. So I don't get sidetracked or forget my goal. Cause I'll go through the year and I'll be like, I'll just forget stuff. So that's how I do it. It's like plug and play with the goals in my calendar. And that works for me.
Yeah, that sounds like a really good program to be able to keep track of everything, keep it in front of you.
Yeah. And goals can always change. So like if I'm in June and I'm like, you know what, like I just don't really know if my heart's set on this goal. Like I can change it and I can move everything around in my calendar. Like it's not set in stone, but it's just a good framework to stay on track.
Yeah. So it sounds like you're pretty organized.
I'm not. I feel like I'm not at all.
Me too. Well,
I'm like not.
So, like my house is clean and neat, and certain parts and certain things are very organized and very structured because I've learned that I have to keep it that way in order to move forward. Sounds like then that's what you've done as well. Like, and I would love to adopt, I guess, a form of that as well for myself, where it's really like the goals part of things. So like I have this whiteboard in the office and I've written down all my 2022 goals. Okay. I've got next to that systems for like how to like daily systems, so like morning, evening routines, weekly investments. So like I have automated investments going out every week for stocks and crypto. Like things are like, I'm just like slowly implementing more and more structure. Yeah. And then I have like to-do lists at the bottom where it's like my most immediate biggest thing, projects being finished. And so I've been working on like this documentary that is like, it's kind of like a documentary, but it's also like a 30-minute like commercial, but promotions. I can show it to you after this. It's really cool. And it's probably got maybe 20 hours left of work in it. Oh, wow. And I've already put in like 60 to 70, maybe 80 hours. I've lost track. Yeah. But I knew I would, so it wasn't a big deal. Right. And that's another thing with like video editing and photo editing as well. So like the more I do, like the quicker I get at it. Okay, yeah. And I would assume it's very similar for everything for most people, like where you like the more you do something, the better you're going to get at it, the better you're going to like be able to finish it quicker. Yeah, definitely. Which I guess that kind of goes without saying, but it's important for me to say it for me. So that's why I said it. Yeah, good. Okay, so let's go back to real estate and talking about business and real estate. I have written down here taxes, and taxes have been a big deal for me because it's always been like a bigger thing than it is. Yeah. It's always been like, I don't know, my mind makes it way bigger than it actually needs to be, or that it actually is for being accomplished. So how do you accomplish, or how do you handle the taxes side of your business? So I have an accountant. That makes sense. Because there's no way that I could do this myself. Absolutely no way. There's no way. All right. Well, that makes sense. All right. That's the easy answer, I guess. Well, but I'll tell you a little. There's more about it I can share. So like I have QuickBooks, and I do some of the QuickBooks. So like expenses, yada, 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 put them in the QuickBooks. But like I will say to anyone that's starting a business, you need to have like your accounting in order. I started my Airbnb business in like October, I think it was, like my second house that I bought. And I put it all in an Excel sheet until like a year later. And people were like, what are you doing? I was like, I have no idea. I have no idea what I'm doing. So got an accountant. Now I'm in QuickBooks. But nobody knows this stuff. Like you don't go to school and learn how to be a business owner. You don't learn. So like I literally was just like yada, yada, yada. I hate that it's not encouraged. Yeah, it's not. It's really sad.
Yeah.
And even in business school and marketing school and
Yeah.
schools where they're supposed to be learning this stuff, they don't teach it.
No. Yeah.
Not
I
real
was a
world,
business
not
major.
real world parts of it.
Yeah, exactly. So I had no idea. But then luckily my dad is like, he's one of my mentors, and he helped me. Like, he's like, if you're not going to do it, if you're not going to put this stuff in QuickBooks, then you need to hire an accountant to do it, because this will eat you alive. Like, it could ruin your business if you don't have your accounting set up right.
So it can be a big deal
Yeah, it can be a
if
really
you
big
let it
deal.
be, but it's also easily handled.
Easily handled,
So
and
that's
you
what
don't
I'm
have to
hearing.
know everything.
Yeah.
Like, I know nothing, so I hire somebody else to do it who knows,
Yeah.
and then it's all good.
Because your time, like I think it just goes back to time is worth money. So it's cheaper. When you look at it that
Exactly.
way, it's cheaper to hire an accountant,
Exactly.
even though they cost money to hire.
Right, because now I can spend my time going to find more houses,
Right.
not doing hours of accounting work
Right.
that I don't even know how to do. Like,
Right.
I'll probably mess it up.
Yeah. So it's more effective
Yeah.
to do it with having a team or having someone work for you.
Yeah.
We're moving really quickly and we've got a ton of value on tape already. So I'm really happy with that.
Cool.
Okay, Ashley. So I love to ask all my guests this question because I always love the answers. If you from 10 years from now came up to you and had some advice for you,
Mm-hmm.
what would be their advice to you in your current state?
The me 10 years from now.
Yeah.
First of all,
The super successful, she owns 100 units.
100,000. Yeah.
100,000?
Yeah. Who knows? 10 years?
100,000 units?
No, that's too many.
Grant Cardone doesn't
1,000.
even own 100,000. He
Okay.
only has like 5,500.
Okay, so 1,000. Let's go there.
Yeah.
So I
That's a
own
good number.
1,000
Units.
rentals. Yeah, units. And I'm talking to me now. I'd be like, you go, girl. And I would say, don't stop. And I would say, don't get comfortable. And I would say, have fun. Like, stop worrying so much. And like, make time for gratitude. And like, it's going to be okay. Like, don't stress about the little things. And also, like, don't let the setbacks that are going to happen stop you from achieving your big goal. Like, just don't stop. And, like, don't fall down. Get right back up. Because you got this.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good one. You got this. Mm-hmm. There's no reason to slow down. There's no reason to be weary or worried because you're on track.
Yeah.
That's what I'm hearing.
Just, like, take time to breathe. Like, it's okay. You don't have to, like, that's one thing that I do. Like, I worry a lot about, like, I'm always like, well, what do the guests need? Yada, yada, yada. Like,
Yeah.
it's okay to, like, just chill.
Yeah. So I love that you brought that up. So let's touch on worry. How do
Okay.
you conquer your worries?
Yes, that's hard. I mean, I think
And if you want to, you can speak to the listeners,
listeners.
the lovely listeners.
Oh God, how do you conquer worry? I think you just have to accept the fact that you are always going to be worried. And one thing that I will say is like that I have to tell myself is don't worry unless you have to. So if I'm working on a flip and I'm like, fuck, like I put too much money into this. What if it doesn't sell? Don't worry about that until it's not selling, because you are wasting valuable time just sitting and worry that it's not helpful or productive at all. So that's what I would say. Don't worry until you have to. And always have like plan A, B, C, D, like, and know in your heart, like it will always be okay. Like you have been in a worse position than you are now, and it will always be okay. Like the worst thing that could happen is like you die, and that probably won't happen for a while. So like you can handle what comes your way.
I would say that death is only bad for those who are left behind.
Okay. Can you elaborate on that?
Because if I'm not here anymore, what do I have to worry about?
Right.
But my loved ones and people that cared about me
Would have to deal with the
would
mess.
be sad. They would be sad and they would grieve.
Yeah.
But for me personally, like, I'm not here anymore.
Right. Okay. Well, the worst thing that could happen is like I go bankrupt and I'm poor and
Which
I
is
don't know.
only temporary. Like if you
Right.
succeeded once, you can succeed again.
Exactly.
Being poor and broke, I've known personally millionaires who have been rich as heck and then broke as heck and then everywhere in between.
Yeah.
And the richest people in the world were failures at first. Failure comes into a part of it all along the way. And like Ashley's saying, it includes worrying as well. Now, I do want to point out, like I listened to Mike Rashid's podcast on YouTube and it's got so much value in it. And he was talking once, and I don't think he was meaning to make this point, but it was really significant to me, is that his anxieties are mostly now, because he's gotten to the point where he's so successful, he's got his facilities, he's got his business running on itself.
Yeah.
His anxieties now are wrapped up in raising his children and his legacy.
Yeah.
Like he's minimized so much of his, like, so much of the external, like, things that could bring anxiety to his life, that he's now left with, like, legitimate, like, things that the most legitimate things, like your legacy.
Yeah.
Your legacy and your children.
Right.
And, like, who you are as a person.
Right.
Because you get everything else handled and you're not trading your time for money.
Right.
And what do you have left? You have time to focus on yourself and your family.
Yeah. And I hope that I get there some point.
Stop hoping.
I will get there some point.
Yes.
Thank you for telling me that.
It's just a matter of time of doing exactly what you've been doing.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is consistent action in the right direction.
Yeah.
And I like to say this often is, like, since nothing is constant except change, the only thing that we can do is either move towards our success, or in my case, or some people's case, sobriety. Like I'm moving towards my sobriety and my success, or I'm moving away from it.
Yeah.
Because there's no in between. There's no just sitting
No.
still. There's no level of, like, satisfaction or contentment.
Yeah.
Like it's either I'm moving away and failing, or actually not, I can't say that, because failing could be still moving forward to the right direction, but I'm either moving away from that success or towards that success, because there's only the two options. And so I'm consistently choosing to move. I'm consistently choosing to move towards my success, like on a daily basis, even though it's small, like, but 1% every day is, what is it, 365% better at the end of the year.
Yeah. Guess so.
Well, I love that your answer was just like, keep going.
Keep going.
Your future self would be like, you got this.
Yeah, exactly.
It's good. It's good stuff.
Yep.
So what are your goals for the rest of the year? So the rest of 2022.
Okay, so my goal is to get 7 more Airbnbs.
By the end of the year.
Yeah.
Excellent.
And double my revenue from last year. And okay, this goal seems, I'm going to say it and be confident about it, but I am going to sell 50 houses. That's a goal.
It's a good goal.
And I'm going to flip.
How many did you sell last year?
Like 20 something.
Yeah, but it's COVID.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people not super inclined to buy.
Yeah, but for me, like, I put way more energy into Airbnb.
Yeah.
I prefer, maybe I shouldn't say that, but like my heart was way more into Airbnb than it was actually selling. So this year I'm going to try to do both.
Excellent.
You can flip some houses in there. I don't really have I'd like to do 5.
5 flips, 50 houses, and 7 more Airbnbs. That's so cool. I can't wait to be talking like that.
Let's talk in a year and see if I did it.
Yeah, we'll have you back on the podcast in a year. Does that sound good?
Yeah, I'd love that.
And we'll have an update of, like, where you've been and how much you've learned since right now.
Yeah, that would be cool. Hopefully I learn a lot.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds like a great idea. And I'm sure you will learn a lot. And, like, those are amazing goals. And
Thank you.
I, like, personally cannot wait to be talking like that.
Yeah,
Like,
you will.
Yeah, I can't wait.
Yeah.
It's going to be great. Because my biggest goal this year is to launch my own video business, which the one I mentioned to you that I'm not going to talk about on this podcast episode. It's something to be for the future to be revealed. But And then my other goal was just to learn the business and real estate side of business of real estate so that I can start doing that in 2023.
Yeah.
So it's just like I am right on track. Like years ago, I said, I'm going to start buying real estate, either commercial or residential, when I'm 30. And
Perfect.
So this year I turned 29, next year I turn 30, and I'm right on track.
You're right on track.
And I wouldn't be able to be here if I hadn't got sober.
Same.
If I hadn't got honest with myself and like continued to be honest with myself.
Exactly.
Which opens the doors to all this new things that I got to work on. This is like, I heard in a meeting the other night that this journey is a mountain climb with no summit.
Yeah, it is.
And there
there's
was
something
constantly
like beautiful about that.
Yeah, no, I loved it. Like I was like, that's so good.
It's so good.
I've
It's a
been saying
lifetime.
Yeah, you never get there.
You never get.
But
There's
it's beautiful.
nowhere to go.
Originally, and all last week, I was so pissed.
Yeah.
Having realized this kind of concept, and then at the end of the week, that someone said that, and it was just like perfect timing for me to hear that it's just a mountain with no summit.
It's just a mountain.
And originally, that was like pissing me off because I was like, I'm so mad
Like,
that I
where's
have
the
to
summit?
keep doing this, that I have to
Right.
keep going and constantly finding new things to fix in myself. And then I realized that's what's great about it.
Exactly.
That's what's cool about it. Like I'm
getting
go
on this journey.
Learn all these things about myself that I didn't know before.
Yeah.
That propels me into the life that I think is my divine right. Mm-hmm. So I'm grateful to be here.
Me too.
Yeah, I'm grateful you're here too.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So is there anything else that you want to talk about that you might think is something really important to tell the listeners or even your own followers? Because you can cut this up later if you want.
Oh, cool. Should I say like where to find me on social media?
You can. Yeah, go ahead and throw it up with your hands. Like,
Okay.
Here's my social media. There's our social media.
Okay. Here's my social media. I am mostly on Instagram and TikTok, and they're both Crash with Ash.
As in,
Follow me.
because they crash at your pad.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I like it.
Or even like if I help you buy a house, like Crash with Ash, like I helped you buy this house and I get to crash there.
It's great.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, thank you so much, Ashley, for coming on the show. And thank you for listening. If you haven't already, hit that like button. If you're listening at this point in the podcast, I appreciate you more than you would even know. And I wish you continued success in all your own endeavors. And let's get this year together. This is the Entreprenhour.
Yay! That's so fun.
That's a wrap.
That's a wrap. That's so fun. I love that.
Nice job. And you said you were nervous.
I was.
I was too. I always am.
Yeah.
I don't know how it's going to go.
I think it went good.
That was really good. I feel really solid about that. All the stuff we
Okay.
said. High five.
High five. Good. That was a good high five.
Indeed. Is your hand okay?
No.
Is it stinging?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.